Warning: the information you are about to hear may be unusual to you, because it contains material that may contradict things that you have learned and have been practicing throughout your life. But I encourage you to listen, understand and absorb the information with an open mind, because it will be beneficial to you on a physical, mental and spiritual level. Please note that it is not by coincidence that you are hearing this message. It is your destiny. And the purpose of this message is to give you an opportunity to clearly understand what has been happening around you, and to give you a fighting chance of changing your life, for the benefit of yourself, your loved ones and all mankind. For we live in a physical world, but not all that we perceive with the five senses are true, because the five senses are limited to a person's perception, and can be easily manipulated to benefit a higher power that doesn't seek your best interest. Furthermore, I'd like to state that no matter what your situation is in life, you might be a single mom or dad taking care of children on your own. You might be a child whose parents have passed away, and you're forced to take care of yourself. You might be sick with a terminal disease. You might be poor, disabled, stressed, hurt, old or depressed. No matter what your situation, there is always hope. Please listen to what I have to say, because my wish is to guide you along the path of awakening your mind spiritually, so you will see beyond the burdens of the physical world, and discover that there are no limits to what you are capable of, but the choice is up to you. Now, without further delay, let us begin. Firstly, I'd like to ask you, why are you here, and what is your purpose on earth? The reason why I ask you this is because many people in this world go about their life without ever stopping to ask themselves these questions. This is the most important question a human being can ask, because it is the foundation for your existence. Aren't you curious to know why you were born? I will help you answer this question, but I encourage you to do more research to expand on this information, if you truly seek clarity. Physically, the purpose of life is to observe, understand, and learn from your experiences and other people's experiences. Then apply what you have learned in a positive way, to improve your life. This means that you are born to experience life. No matter if the situation is good or bad, there is always something to be learned, and the lesson can always be applied in a positive way, as wisdom for yourself, your peers or the next generation of human beings. Most importantly, in the grand scale of things, it is vital to remember that your experiences are shaped by your state of mind. But how can such a conclusion be made? To help you understand this, I need to explain the nature of your reality. Firstly, what do you think are the building blocks of the universe? Scientists in the field of quantum physics discovered that if you observed the composition of an atom with a powerful microscope, you would see a small, tornado-like vortex with a number of infinitely small energy vortices, called quarks and photons. These are what make up the structure of the atom. As you focused in closer and closer on the atom structure, you would see that nothing is there, just energy waves. This means that an atom is actually an invisible force field, emitting waves of energy. Those energy waves can be measured, and their effects can be seen, but they are not a material reality. They have no substance, because they are just energy. Energy that cannot be created or destroyed, but changed from one form to another. It's quite the conundrum, isn't it? Our experience tells us that our reality is made up of physical material things, and the external world holds no connection to the human mind. But the revelation is that the universe is not an assembly of physical parts, it is instead an entanglement of energy waves, attracting and repelling itself, to create the illusion of physicality. Ultimately, as mentioned before, this further strengthens the fact that you are no different from a grain of sand on the beach, and another human that you love, or despise. This is the message that many of your prophets have tried to convey. Simply, that we are all one. Here is a little challenge that I guarantee will be very beneficial to you. When you're outside in nature, or even after you have finished listening to this, observe the environment around you, realize that we are all made of the same energy, and tell yourself that you are connected with everything. Even if you cannot see it, you will feel the connection by appreciating and loving everything that God created. Just by practicing this simple process, you will notice a positive shift in your reality. This can only happen if you change your state of mind to represent positivity, love, and appreciation. You may not have realized this, but your reality is always shifting. This happens billions of times per second, but from your perspective, it always looks the same, because your state of mind also remains the same. Remember, you can only change the outside world if you change yourself first, because your conscious thoughts and the reality you experience are connected. The ultimate truth is that you are your reality. This is the power of love and positive thinking. The energy that holds the universe together vibrates at the same frequency as unconditional love. This is why many of your religious books state that God is unconditional love, because many of your prophets felt that eternal, benevolent energy, and could only describe it as such. Thus, when you develop that feeling of unconditional love toward everything, you will be vibrating at the same frequency as God's energy, and like an orchestra, in this positive, harmonious state, you will have the power to make your wildest dreams come true. In other words, your reality will shift in any direction that you desire. This is why maintaining a positive state of mind can alter the reality you experience. Now, you might think that because physical matter doesn't actually exist, life is an illusion, but that isn't the case. In this condition, the word illusion means that we perceive reality one way, when it is actually something else, or more. So what you absorb with your five senses is not a trick. It was designed this way to give you an experience, so you can observe, understand, learn, and gain wisdom. To explain this further, the purpose of the illusion was to temporarily, and I repeat, temporarily, hide the truth that we are energetic beings, and everything is connected. So the early human beings could focus on surviving in this harsh world, by observing, understanding, and learning from their experiences, and most importantly, expressing their free will of choice. Then, when they have gained enough wisdom about their environment, they will begin to ask questions such as, what is the purpose of life, and who created this? This is where you have arrived in your life's journey. At this point your mind has matured, and your spiritual awakening will begin. You will start seeing the underlying truth of your reality, where you will discover a universe made of energy, and if your search continues with the guidance of your intuition, you will discover that this energy forms the consciousness of the human race, and everything that has, and will, ever exist. Then you will see that everything is one whole entity, and physically feel that connection flowing through your body. At this point you have achieved spiritual enlightenment. Spiritual enlightenment is a feeling of oneness with God, because God is everything. This is your spiritual purpose for being here on earth. In case you have not fully grasped this concept, let me give you an analogy. Your computer desktop has a user interface, with icons, buttons, and pictures, which makes it very easy to navigate, understand, and learn. So if someone said to right-click, create a new folder, and open the folder, those instructions could be easily followed, and your brain could be focused on the task at hand. Now imagine if the user interface was stripped away, so you are left with the true nature of your operating system, consisting of only ones and zeros, and you are given the same task, to right-click, create a new folder, and open the folder. Those simple instructions would seem very difficult. Thus the benefits of having a user interface is to quickly help the observer get used to the operating system, and when sufficient experience is gained, the user will question and learn how the computer works from its basic components. So in retrospect, your computer's operating system was created with the same idea in mind as physical matter, to help the observer navigate, understand, and learn from experiences in this physical environment. By listening to this message, you have been given the opportunity to finally be self-empowered. Self-empowerment means that you will have the ability to take control of your destiny, through your own thoughts, beliefs and actions. Many in your world spend their time believing that some powerful person or spiritual entity will act as the savior, who will come to rescue them from suffering if they just sit and wait, but this is not true. In order to receive assistance from God, angels, or any spiritual being that you believe in, you need to empower yourself first. This implies that you must face your problems. Whether it's emotional, mental, physical, or spiritual, you must stand up to it, because your true savior is not an external force, waiting to fly down and save mankind. The truth is that the savior you've been waiting for is actually yourself, because only you have control over your thoughts and actions. You are not a puppet on a string. When you empower yourself, spiritually, what you're actually doing is raising your hands up, like an antenna, to receive further assistance from the universe, which will catapult you to success, like many others have done. But if you don't empower yourself, the spiritual world that's desperately trying to help you would have nothing to grasp onto. But you must also be observant, because your help may arrive in a manner that you may not expect. Either way, you will receive the help that you are asking for. To begin the process of empowerment, start by writing down your goals in life. Read it as often as possible to keep yourself focused. Your goals should be realistic and related to something that you enjoy doing, so you won't become bored and quit prematurely. Be prepared to make changes in your lifestyle, because your current state of mind will set limitations, and discouragement will arise. And most importantly, take action to pursue your goals with every chance you get. Maintain a feeling of confidence and positivity in whatever you do, and your progress will reflect in your reality. Please, do not let the leaders of this world disempower you and dictate what you can or cannot do, because you are one with God, and you are in control of your reality. What I am saying is that we all have access to abilities beyond our wildest imaginations. Because in actuality, we are spiritual beings, having a human experience. It's not the other way around. So it is time to stop holding yourself back and free your mind. But how, you ask? Start by seeking spiritual awareness, or what is sometimes called a spiritual awakening. This is a process where you explore the meaning of your existence, by questioning everything you know about the physical and spiritual world, to find the truth. Then when this truth is applied, your soul will work together with the physical body, for the common purpose of achieving your life's goals. You see, when your soul is working together with your physical body, the possibilities are endless. This is because your soul has unlimited access to all the knowledge and abilities of the universe, and it is constantly trying to guide you along a path of awareness and happiness. But if you are stuck in an endless loop trying to be popular, wealthy, or good-looking, these messages will only be heard when it's too late. To hear what your soul is saying, you need to trust your intuition, or gut feeling as some call it. Your intuition is the natural gift, given to us by God, to instinctively interpret information from our soul. This is usually interpreted through feeling, or sometimes you might hear yourself mentally saying to do something that you have no explanation for. This is your intuition at work. And it always works for the best possible outcome in your life. Think about it, everything including all human souls in the universe is connected. Our souls are the purest, positive form of us. Since they are all connected, They work together in unison for the benefit of mankind, speaking to each of us through our intuition. So if we all paid attention to our intuition, every human being would also work in unison with each other. Thus, everything in your life would be exactly where you want it, when you want it. Try interpreting and listening to what your intuition wants for a day. You might be pleasantly surprised at the results. After achieving your spiritual awakening, your journey towards spiritual enlightenment will begin. Spiritual enlightenment implies complete understanding of life and the universe, which usually is accompanied by a detachment of all things earthly, and a complete awareness and appreciation of everything, physical, non-physical, organic, and inorganic. You see, an attachment to material possessions in life can cause suffering, produced by desire, envy, greed, and other emotions that attach the mind to worldly things. A person thus becomes enlightened when they remain in the world, but are free of attachment to it. Enlightenment is thus considered the end of a being's spiritual journey. In short, your mindset for spiritual enlightenment is that you should exist in the physical world, but you should not become a product of it. And please, do not be discouraged, this is not a difficult process. Spiritual enlightenment comes naturally as long as you desire it. Always remember that inviting openness, empowerment, awareness, and enlightenment into your life is the key to absolute peace of mind and true happiness. Subconsciously, this is what we all want as living beings. Not getting caught up in the rituals and corruption of physical life. This is why we were also born with curiosity, to help us sort through the lies and disinformation, by researching and thinking if the information is really true. Because the elites of this world do not seek your best interest, they have hidden the truth by surrounding it with endless surges of deception and propaganda. For example, there are over 4,000 different religions, and each blindly proclaim that their belief system is true, and they are willing to die for their belief. But how do they know that it is true? Most religious followers were born and raised into their faith, so they did not have a chance to observe the world and decide what is truth for themselves. Some religions even claim that questioning anything their book says is punishable by an eternity in hell, or your soul will be destroyed when you die. But their belief also states that their God has unconditional love for you and everything He created. So do you feel the great contradiction in this statement? It is odd to think that such an infinitely powerful, loving being, who created us to experience all aspects of life, would have such a limited human quality. It almost makes you think that religious beliefs were created by man, trying to interpret what God really is. To explain this, let me give you another analogy. 4 blind men were asked by a king to determine what an elephant looked like, by feeling different parts of the elephant's body. The blind man who feels a leg says the elephant is like a post, the one who feels the tail says the elephant is like a rope, the one who feels the trunk says the elephant is like a tree branch, and the one who feels the belly says the elephant is like a wall. When they all heard each other's varied answers, they started to argue about who was right, and hate grew amongst the blind men. But the king stopped the argument, and explained that they were all right. They were each touching a different part of the elephant, that's why their experiences were different. But if they had taken the time to experience the entire elephant, they would have known the whole truth. This explains how we have experienced our world for thousands of years, taking one experience and concluding that it is absolute. This happens even now, when someone experiences a bad relationship, he or she thinks that all members of the opposite sex are the same, without taking a different perspective. Now I will explain the human ego in relation to this. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that God is a jealous being? Ask yourself this question as much as you can, and feel the answer your intuition gives. Of course, if you've been brought up under specific belief systems, you'd feel a sense of fear while thinking such a question. This fear is brought about by your ego. The ego is neither bad nor good, it simply uses the information and experience that it has collected during your lifetime to make critical decisions. Though because we live in a physical world, where man's thoughts and actions are naturally flawed, the wall your ego constructs to defend you against the outside world, and your deepest thoughts, can also be flawed. Imagine that your intuition is begging you to make a certain decision that was sent from God, and your ego instantly shoots it down, because throughout your life, your subconscious mind was fed with information that contradicts your intuition, and the most effective defense your ego uses is fear. It's a lot easier to scare someone into believing than to force them through anger. You're familiar with the usual religious teachings about fire and brimstone. That if you do something bad then you have sinned, and God doesn't like sinners. So, for even committing one sin in your life, without asking for forgiveness, do you believe that God would send you to hell to suffer for all eternity, because you committed a sin? Ask yourself, although you have been taught that a place of spiritual judgment awaited us when we die, do you truly believe that your God, who is a part of you, who has unconditional love for everything that He created, would send you to hell or destroy your soul because you committed a sin? Would you like that fate to be brought upon yourself? Then why would you like such a fate to fall upon someone whom you don't like? This is because of the human ego. The ego hates opposition, so it invents creative ways to symbolize revenge. This isn't a new concept though, ancient man felt the same way, whenever his ego encountered opposition by another man, and the swift act of justice couldn't be brought about by killing or sending the other man to jail. Other methods had to be invented to please the ego. So the concept of judgment in the afterlife was created to please all good men who sought justice. By thinking your enemies would die, and your loving God would banish them to hell, or destroy their soul, gave lots of religious believers peace of mind. Do you really think that a God with unconditional love, who tells you to love even your enemy, is also seeking justice by punishing your enemy when he dies? This strangely feels like a concept developed by the human ego, and there are many others. Look for them, identify them, and the fear your ego tries to bring upon you will subside, and eventually disappear. So now you may ask, if God has unconditional love, and there isn't any spiritual justice when we die, what is the fate of the people on this earth who have committed murders, rape, corruption, torture and all manner of atrocities that are looked down upon by good men? Before I answer this question, I want you to pay attention to one thing, your ego. Your ego will be sending signals of fear to your mind, because what I am about to say may contradict your belief system, so in order to naturally protect yourself, you'll receive a feeling of anxiety, like you're probably feeling right now, and your brain will trigger an alarm to oppose the information. Observe and identify when this happens. The truth is that every soul, no matter what they have done on this earth during their lifetime, all go to the same spiritual place when they pass away, and it doesn't matter if you call it the Promised Land, Paradise on earth, Zion, the City of God, or Heaven. God has unconditional love towards everything in the universe, and because of this, there is no place where disbelievers or wrongdoers are punished to exact revenge and justice. So ask yourself, why would a being bother creating something which it does not love? And please keep in mind that no matter what you do and experience in life, your soul is always connected to God. Thus, throughout your life, it always tries to guide you along a positive path. The problem is, not everyone listens to this higher guidance, so they head down a road of negativity. But, when they die, their soul simply detaches from the body, and returns to the spiritual realm, with the intention of trying again. And remember, You are created to have an experience, no matter if it's mostly good or bad. Your duty is to apply whatever you've learned in a positive way, and listen to your intuition, so your life will represent what your soul, and in turn, what God wants. Note that the dying experience varies from person to person, but please bear in mind that in some rare cases, people do have a hell-like experience when they reach the afterlife, but this is because they had very close ties with their religious beliefs when they were alive, but this experience is only temporary. The moment they come to terms with it, or wish to escape from this experience, it will be over. So I encourage you to be careful of what you believe in. Here is another thing you should consider. What really is good and bad? According to human nature, the difference between a good and bad action are very subjective. The factors include how you were raised, the people you're around, your emotions, whether you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol, religious teachings, state laws and many more. So depending on where you live, or your beliefs, could shape your opinion on what is good, bad and what should be considered a sin. Take into account the war in the Middle East. Radical Muslims are mercilessly killing innocent people that do not support their faith, and are committing terrorist acts in the name of their God. They truly believe that what they are doing is right, and that they will be rewarded for their actions in the afterlife, because that is what they have been taught to believe. On the other hand, many people observing from other parts of the world see what they are doing as heinous crimes, devil-fueled chaos and definitely an act of sin. People who are just observing say that these radical Muslims should be eradicated from the face of this earth, because they truly believe that their view is right. But ask yourself, in the eyes of God, who is really right here? Both sides think they're right and their actions are solidly justified, but in the eyes of a God with unconditional love, and a universe he deliberately created with free will, these actions are merely a part of what makes the universe alive and unique. For without chaos, there won't be order. Without hate there won't be love, and without war, there won't be peace. The duality of these conditions keeps the universe in balance, and allows God to be self-aware. Each side in the war in the Middle East simply have a different perspective for the action that they take, and it should not be in your best interest to say who is good or bad, because such a thought is the work of the ego, judging your fellow man, and it is important to take the time to understand why each side is fighting so intensely for what they believe. Keep in mind that understanding is the key to absolute order, love, and peace in the universe. If we all understood each other's perspective, every human being on earth would feel a spiritual connection, and no man would feel separate, and the need for hierarchy would be dissolved. Now, let me explain how the universe can work for you when you open your mind. You may think you're only a child, or a worthless human being, destined for a fixed standard of living, but that is all in your mind. Remember, no one but you could determine your level of happiness. If you think having no money makes you poor, then you will be poor. If you think looking a certain way makes you ugly, then you will be ugly. Remember, you are a powerful spiritual being, so be careful of the thoughts you hold in your mind. Based on this, there is a principle called the law of attraction, which permeates the universe. This principle operates on the fact that like attracts like. In other words, positive thoughts and actions attract positive thoughts and reactions, and this rule operates similarly in a negative case. One very important factor to keep in mind is the way God thinks. Remember, God always says yes to everything you ask for. It is then your physical and spiritual duty to be a vibrational match to what you desire, and then it shall be received. This force is always at work, and you use it even though you don't fully know it exists. Consider the state of mind of a person who is usually unhappy. That person might say, "I'm sad because I have no money." In response, God will say, "Yes, you will be sad because of your lack of money." thus adding to your sadness from lack of wealth. This continues in an endless loop, until the person changes their state of mind to say, I'm happy no matter what my situation, and God will say, yes, you will be happy, no matter what your situation. This works for anything you say mentally or physically, and correlates with the actions you take. So again, be aware and very careful of the mental state you hold. You may notice that negative thoughts and actions are manifested many times faster than those that are positive. This is because you are raised to absorb negative actions more deeply than positive ones. So you hold negative vibrations faster and more efficiently. For example, a child who only listens to his parents when he is scolded, is conditioned to absorb negativity, and he grows up with a negative state of mind, thus manifesting mostly negative situations in their life. Now I'll briefly explain the process of effortlessly manifesting your desires step by step. Step 1. Vision. Have a vivid mental image of what you want. Step 2. Desire. The mental image should be accompanied by a strong, intense desire or emotion, because that pumps energy into the manifestation of that idea. Step 3. Belief. You must have total belief that what you want will come true. Otherwise all the desire in the world will account for nothing. Step 4. Acceptance. You must totally accept yourself and that the new belief are true, just as you accepted the old belief as true without question. Step 5. Intention. You must have utmost intention and focus to manifest your desires. Step 6. Action. You must behave like your desire exists in the present. In other words, physically ground the desire with your body language, and the actions that you take. Step 7. Allowance. You must know that everything in your life is already perfect as it is, because if you are desperate and needy for your desire, when you finally receive it, you'll take it for granted, and eagerly waste what you are given. Remember, we are all a part of God, which means we have the ability to shape our realities however we see fit, but because of societal teachings and earthly desires, we have forgotten much of our abilities, and limited ourselves to what is within reach of our 5 senses. To help you remember, research spiritual abilities, to find out what every human being on earth are capable of, and always keep in mind that you are a spiritual being first, and anything is possible. If you are interested in learning how to manifest your greatest desires, you can also research Abraham Hicks, Manifesting, and the Law of Attraction. Please note, if you think life is too stressful, overbearing, or you feel helpless, ask yourself these simple questions. Why am I not taking action in this situation to improve my life? Why am I just letting time fly by without truly finding a solution to my problems? Is this really the life I want to live? Is this the person I was born to be? Am I truly powerless in this world, or is my current way of thinking just holding me back? Remember, your soul and subconscious mind already know the answers. You just have to be honest with yourself and listen to your intuition. Then, when you accept the answers, the solutions will come to you. Furthermore, God gave you the power to do anything that you desire. Don't let the elites of this world dictate whether you're successful in life. This is how they maintain power and control over us. Remember, you are a part of God, not separate, so you have power beyond your wildest imagination. All you have to do is awaken yourself spiritually. If everyone in the world knew about the powers they possess spiritually, then it would be impossible to control anyone, and this is what they're desperately trying to hide from you. So ask yourself, do I want to continue the life that I am living, or do I want to choose a path that brings out my highest excitement? Remember, the path that brings out your highest excitement is the path that is guided by God Himself. Listen to your intuition. It will tell you whether or not what you are doing is your highest excitement. No matter your age, it is never too late. Remember, you are an eternal being with an undying will. Even if you have children, this task is not difficult. Keep in mind that this is a delicate stage in their life, and if you allow them to absorb whatever society wants to teach them, the awakening process will be much harder. But this does not mean that you and your children should abandon societal teachings altogether. Ensure that your desire for spiritual awareness is always present. Follow your highest excitement and you'll experience wealth and happiness beyond your wildest imagination. Money is just physical matter given value by your governments and adopted by the people of your country. On a spiritual level, money is worthless, but combining the knowledge you have gathered about awakening your spirituality, following your highest excitement and the law of attraction, money can be manifested on an infinite scale. Remember, the most important aspect is belief. If you are awakened spiritually, it is your duty to guide your children to find their life's purpose. Teach them awareness and to love everyone around them unconditionally. Once they understand, your job as a parent will be significantly easier. If you truly have a desire to be a spiritually awakened being, I will recap a few topics that you can research on YouTube, Google search, or books in the library, to guide you on your journey. This includes spiritual awakening, spiritual enlightenment, intuition, self-empowerment, meditation, manifestation, and the law of attraction. 2 persons that I highly recommend you research are Bashar and Abraham Hicks. Listen and understand the knowledge they have to share. This will be a valuable guide for you. Finally, I'd like to reiterate a few statements I need you to remember and most importantly, understand. They are, to pursue spiritual awareness and spiritual enlightenment. Appreciate every living and non-living thing around you. Listen to your intuition and seek self-empowerment. Most importantly, you are a spiritual being having a physical experience, and you have complete control over your reality. Furthermore, I must say that God does exist. He has strictly unconditional love for you and everyone on earth, and He created all of us with the ability to communicate with Him, freely and directly. No books, rituals, or religious complexes are needed, because God is already within you. He always has been, and He's always listening. So please, it's time to get out of the darkness of blind belief, and take any opportunity you have, to research what spirituality truly is. It might just change your life. It is time to wake up.